Daniel Hayes never planned on becoming a legend. He only wanted to be a good father. After leaving the service 10 long years as a sniper in the army, his world fell apart piece by piece. His wife passed away in a car accident just months after his last deployment. Suddenly, war's silence wasn't filled with peace, it was filled with the cries of a newborn baby girl. He named her Emily. She became his reason for breathing. Daniel raised her alone, working nights at a factory, days fixing rifles in his garage to pay bills, and evenings cooking cheap meals that somehow always tasted like hope. But war leaves scars deeper than skin. Daniel carried them in his sleep, in his memories, in the way his hands sometimes shook when he held a gun. Still, he found peace in building rifles. His favorite project was one no one respected. An old bolt action that he had rebuilt piece by piece, tuning every spring and every groove with care. It shot straighter than any weapon he had ever carried, but there was a catch: the rifle was painted bright orange. Emily, only 6 at the time, had begged him, "Daddy, make it orange like my crayon. So it's special, so no one takes it from you." Daniel couldn't say no. He never could. Years later, when he found himself invited to a Marine training exercise, an event where veterans sometimes came to show the kids what old war dogs could do, he brought that rifle. That was the beginning of the laughter. The Marines saw him, a graying, quiet man in worn boots, carrying a hunting case with something bright shining inside. They pointed, joked, called it a toy, said maybe he'd stolen it from a hardware store paint aisle. Daniel didn't argue. He just set it down on the range. What the Marines didn't know was that Daniel had already fought battles they'd never see. They didn't know he'd once stayed awake for 72 hours watching a ridgeline in Afghanistan, protecting his brothers from an ambush no one else noticed. They didn't know he had cried over a crib while holding a baby that didn't understand why mommy wasn't coming home. That day, the challenge was announced: hit the steel plate target 5,000 meters away, a near impossible shot even for the most advanced snipers. Most laughed, some shook their heads. No one believed the man with the orange rifle would even try. But Daniel had been training for this moment his whole life. Not for medals. Not for glory. For one reason: to show his daughter that no matter how many people laugh, no matter how impossible something seems, you don't walk away. You face it. The desert air was still. Marines lined up behind spotting scopes, crossing their arms, whispering bets. Daniel lay flat in the dirt, his cheek pressed against the orange stalk. He didn't hear their laughter anymore. He only heard Emily's voice in his memory, small and soft: "Make it orange, Daddy. So no one takes it from you." 5,000 meters. The target shimmered in the heat waves. The distance was absurd. Even the best modern rifles and optics struggled at that range. The earth curved against the bullet, the wind shifted in invisible layers, the sun itself bent light like a trickster. Daniel breathed once. Twice. He remembered every hour he had spent calibrating, every moment he'd trained himself not to flinch when war was screaming around him. He remembered rocking Emily to sleep in his arms, whispering promises that one day she'd see who her father truly was. And then, he pulled the trigger. The world went silent for what felt like forever. The bullet sailed, cutting through layers of time, space, and doubt. The Marines leaned in, some smirking, some shaking their heads. Then, the laughter stopped. Every Marine's mouth fell silent, eyes wide, disbelief painted across their faces. One shouted, "No way!" Another whispered, "That's impossible." But Daniel knew the truth: it wasn't luck. It was years of heartbreak, discipline, love, and faith condensed into one perfect moment. At that very instant, a convoy pulled up. A decorated general stepped out, having come to inspect the training exercise. He had heard the shot. He had seen the still ringing target. And when he asked, "Who made that shot?" every Marine pointed, not with laughter now, but with respect, toward the quiet man with the orange rifle. The general walked over, studied the weapon, and finally looked into Daniel's eyes. "You served?" "Yes, sir," Daniel said. "Then today, you reminded us all what service really means." Daniel didn't smile. He just nodded, packed up his rifle, and went home. That night, when Emily asked, Did they like your rifle, Daddy? He smiled at last. They'll never laugh at it again, he said.